With a brand new video, and today we're going to be talking about Zodiac beasts in this video. In particular, we're going to be talking about how to side out or side against them going first or second. So in this video, we're going to be discussing pretty much almost every single possible way that you can counter Zodiac beasts in a single way. So there's going to be a few things that we're going to go over, obviously. So let's just jump right into it. So the first thing you're probably going to be noticing is that one of the is the best way to stop Zodiac beasts, or one of the best ways, is to stop them from their extra deck. So cards like Flying Sea and Artifact Scythe are great floodgates against them because they inherently just stop them from going into their floodgates. Flying Sea is a little bit less good because it puts a monster on their side of the field and they can just do whatever they want with it. They can blow it up easily and they can just counter it very, very easily with like triangle and all of that stuff. But Artifact Scythe is a little bit more difficult for them to get over simply because, one, it's 2200 attack, and two, they have to counter it through other means. They're playing they're playing a playset of Twin Twisters in their main deck, and if they hit this card, they're going to be pretty sad. Not to mention that the artifact engine in general is pretty good. So cards like Artifact, Moral Talk, and Sanctum are going to be really crucial cards in the deck. Plus, it's really good if you're also playing Zodiac Beasts, because you can also just integrate artifacts into your main deck. You can play Artifact Durendal, and that's pretty good. But Xyz Encore is also is different. It doesn't stop your opponent from going into their extra deck, it just stops them from having extra deck or Xyz material. So for those of you who don't know what this card is I'm going to read it out to you. Target one face-up Xyz monster your opponent controls that has Xyz material, detach all Xyz material from it, and if you do, return it to the extra deck. Then if there is a monster card in the graveyard among those detached Xyz monsters, special summon as many of those to your opponent's side of the field in defense position, but their levels are reduced by 1. Also, your opponent can't activate cards in response to this card's activation. So basically what it does is special summons like their Molmarat and all that stuff in defense mode, but it lowers the level by 1. Now, technically, Molmarat is their best card and is the best card in the deck by itself. So summoning Molmarat generally might not be a good play, but it does lower its level by 1, so they just can't go straight into another Xyz like that. I think it's decent, but I don't think it's going to be the best way to get over it. I think it's going to be one of the more budget-esque ways of getting against Zodiac Beasts. So other than just like playing Flying Sea, because it is pretty budget at the moment, you can pick up some commons for a couple of cents, and ultras I think are like $2 a piece. So there should be really no reason for you not to at least have some sort of side decks against Zodiac Beasts. Also, Artifact Scythe is relatively cheap. You don't have to play Sanctum, though it's less good. So yeah. Dimensional Bear, obviously it's going to be expensive, but it is the best out for against Zodiac Beasts. You just call Xyz, and they can't Xyz summon for the rest of the turn. They can't really do much after that. They have to pretty much just pass. It's really weird because they don't really have any other ways to deal damage. Viper and Bull are decently attacked. No, Thoroughblade and Viper have 1200 and 1600. That's not enough to OTK you. They can't OTK you from that point, so it does buy you at least a turn. So it does deserve its price point, but it is going to be the more expensive out to Zodiac Beasts, and you'll probably see this card more often. Power Filter. This card's interesting, but I don't like it as much as the other cards that I'm going to be talking about, mainly because it is very niche. It's also very specifically out there. It's already on the field. Your opponent will be able to out it very easily. At the very worst case scenario, it eats a Twin Twister spot. Best case scenario, it just completely has your opponent skip their entire turn, because they can't summon anything other than like Thoroughblade and Viper, and they can't even go into their Xyz because their original attack is 0, and that's 1,000 attack. That's a less than 1,000 attack. So there you have it. Another card is a Chain Disappearance. You're basically going to be playing this on mostly on anything that is. You're not going to be playing on a Rabina because they might not even play that many Rabina, but you're going to be playing this against Molmarat because Molmarat is, like I said, is their best card in the deck. Sure, they can have the one, but it gets rid of everything else, and then it banishes them. They can't have them in the graveyard. It doesn't get put in the graveyard, so it's a really good, another budget-esque card. The super rares are out of print, I think, as of this point. I checked yesterday and they weren't there. But you could buy commons and you could buy gold rares for a decent price for a few cents, so it's good. So. And just in board clears in general, and I'm going to be talking about Dune Donut because particularly it's a fun card, and it's also going to be one of the cards that is different. So, like I said, all the original attack of every Zodiac Beast Xyz monster is 0, and Mulmurat is also 0. So it counters up to 6 cards in their extra deck, plus duplicates and Mulmurat, which is good. It destroys them because their original attack is 0, which in general is really good against board clears. And but I think Kaiju Slumber is the best one out of them, all of them, because Kaiju Slumber is not only does it get rid of their board, but it also puts Gamma Seal or Kumungus on the board, so you could just run them over and you just just casually just run it over, as I'm saying. So. Just in general, board clears like Torrential, Dark Hole, Raikage, Kaiju Slumber, anything like that you can play to eliminate a board, it's viable. Fossil Dyna is viable because it does clear a board. Jowgin's viable because those cards are also simultaneous to floodgates, but they're not on here because they're not on here. So, Effect Negation is also a card that is also what you could. It's also something you could look into. Cards like Ghost Ogre and Snowrabbit effectively are decently good, so you keep those in mind. In the mirror match, if you're playing Zodiac Beasts, Ghost Reaper and Winter Chairs is going to be imperative in your main deck, or at least in your side deck, because it does stop them from going into certain variants. It stops them from going into their major plays. It stops them from going into their Transia, for example, or what's the other one? Tigress. So it's pretty good. Counters is a special summon. Zodiac Beast special summon quite a bit, actually. So cards like Vanity's Emptiness, Vanity's Fiend, even Maxi is pretty good. While they can definitely OTK you through Maxi, you're going to be drawing a lot of cards through it. And if they don't, then you're gonna win because you've drawn so many cards out of your deck, and your opponent has not been able to kill you. So more times than likely, then they're gonna be killing you. You're gonna be killing them on that turn. So, and another card that I want to be talking about that people should be kind of familiar with, and people should probably get familiar with, is a card called number 103 Ragnar Zero. Now, this card was one of the better rank 4 Xyz monsters, and it actually is decent and by itself. But it's going to be really good in this format because what it does. So, for those of you who don't know what this card does, is once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card, then target one face-up attack position monster your opponent controls whose current attack is different than its original attack, and then destroy it. And then if you do, draw one card. So basically, all their monsters, like I said, with Doom Donut and with Power Filter, their Xyz material original attack is 0. So let's say they have a Thoroughblade or Viper on the board and they Xyz into it. They have 1600 attack or 1200 attack or any amount of attack. Really, if they're under 10 key, that's automatically another 100 attack. That's more than 0. So you can just detach a card from this card and then destroy it immediately as soon as it enters the field, and then you do get to draw a card, which is really good. So I think it's good for very specific situations. 1, it gives you a little bit of card draw. 2, it pops some pretty problematic cards. And 3, it's a decent card. It's a decent body. 2400 attack is not very easy to get over in Zodiac Beasts, but they can do it. It's just going to be a little bit difficult for them to play around also. So they have to really bait this card out, and they have to bait it out in certain ways. They only have to really bait it out once, but generally that's all you really need to kind of just establish their board. So anyway, guys, tell me what you guys think about this card and about my suggestions in the comment section down below. Tell me if I missed anything. I missed things like DD Crow, obviously, but that's only against Mulmurat. But anyway, guys, let me know what I missed in the comment section down below. I will see you guys in the next video. This has been Team Metamorphosis, and we'll be signing out.